My name's Lindsey Mendick and I'm an installation artist based in Margate. I make humorous but also quite eerie environments that talk about the complications of identifying as female at this current time. When I started my master's at the Royal College, I finally started firing my work and using glazes, and as soon as you fire that first work, you never look back because it's such a magical alchemy that nothing can beat that rush and that high. I got addicted since then. My first impressions of Kenilworth Castle was the dream backdrop to my work. It feels intrinsically Gothic, it's beautiful. It's a real building that shows its time. Queen Elizabeth I granted Robert Dudley Kenilworth Castle, and on one of her last visits, Robert Dudley put on a 19-day hedonistic, wild, ridiculously extravagant party in order to convince her to marry him. There were 300-dish feasts, there were masquerade balls, there was hunting, and by about day 11, Elizabeth, I think, had had enough, and it became something else entirely. The title of the installation is Wicked Game, which will be taking place in the Great Hall. It's going to be an installation of a dilapidated chessboard. At the centre, and with the game of chess, it all culminates around checkmate. We'll have Elizabeth as the lion, and then Dudley and all the other people, the plots against her, crawling towards her, trying to grab for her. This is the culmination of the chaos that was encased around her. I was really interested in places like the Acropolis where the sculptures were in fragments, and I'm imagining all of these sculptures to be fragments of the past. I want the installation to feel as though it's a masquerade ball, but then also a point of metamorphosis. I think there's a point in every party that I've been to when it tips, when they say nothing good goes on after 12 o'clock. This point that we become more animalistic, drinking, the hedonism, everything makes us into like the creatures that we never hope to be in everyday life. A lot of the female protagonists are the hunted, deer, foxes. A lot of the male protagonists are the dogs or the pigs. So we've done Elizabeth as this lion, the lion that she saw that she was, kind of maybe to tear herself away from her own femininity. We've taken inspiration from the rainbow portrait, considering this is meant to be the pinnacle of a hunt or also like the game of chess and checkmate. We chose that one because they had this great symbolism all over it of eyes and ears, which was sort of nodding to her massive network of spies who were protecting her and the way that she saw and heard everything. And that was why she was able to reign in the way that she did. We're doing Robert Dudley as the bear because on his coat of arms, he was always the bear, and you can see it throughout Kenilworth. We're actually transforming Dudley into a bear that's reaching up and begging Elizabeth to marry him. In the same group, we have Alençon, who also was going to be marrying Elizabeth, one of her suitors, and Philip of Spain. So these all surround her. But then next to them are each of the women that they kind of trampled through in order to get closer to Elizabeth. When Elizabeth first entered the castle, Dudley had actors sort of dressed as sibyls that came to greet her to sort of use Greek mythology to tell her fate. I am conveying the sibyls to be more of a realistic viewpoint of what would happen if she was to marry. I think there's always so much talk around who was it that Elizabeth loved, but the more and more I've been looking into the story of her and Dudley, the more he becomes another person or another pawn in this sort of game of power. There's sort of a duality of what I want people to take away from this. I think it's always great if people start reading more into their history, and at the same time as that, I think I'd really like it to be a spectacle. And rather than looking at Elizabeth as a formidable queen who got it right, actually delving into her history and seeing what a struggle for power it was.